You know him from Cheers. Now he's in a hit movie with Demi Moore. So why, with all this success, is Woody Harrelson still haunted by his past? Inside Edition, straight ahead.
This is Walker Railey.
He was a respected man of God who says he came home to find his wife strangled. We've waited 6 years to hear his story.
Walker, did you strangle Peggy?
No, I didn't.
Now, the preacher takes the witness stand and admits he kept a mistress.
Just one question. You gotta go live.
Spring break in Florida means fun in the sun and a lot of monkeying around. But on Monkey Island, it's not college kids who are acting like animals. Today, landing on the island of the primates.
Let's go.
He's gone from the scatterbrained sitcom sidekick.
Well, what do they think is going to happen to me over there?
To co-star with the biggest names in Hollywood.
I felt kind of flattered that I could be competing with Robert Redford at all. And apparently it wasn't much of a competition. He seemed to be winning it.
But Woody Harrelson's rise to the top hasn't always been full of cheer.
2, 1. Hello, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching Inside Edition today. The movie Indecent Proposal is big at the box office. First week, it made close to $25 million. Because of that, Woody Harrelson, who hit it big with Cheers, is now a frontline movie star against all odds. A special report coming up. But first, we have been following the case of Walker Railey, a Dallas minister accused of killing his wife. The situation has been going on now for 6 years, and now sensational revelations. Joel Loy with our report.
If I'd been at home that night, instead it was somebody else, this may not have happened. And if it had happened, it may have happened to me and not to Peggy. And that is a shame and a guilt that won't go away.
This married preacher admits he strayed into the arms of another woman. But Walker Railey insists his sins do not include the attempted murder of his wife. Dallas, 1987. A late-night 911 call triggers one of the most sensational criminal investigations in the city's history.
Dallas Emergency Station. This is Walker Railey. I'm at 9328 Trail Hill Drive, north of Lake Island High School.
On April 22nd, Dallas police and paramedics were called to the home of one of the city's most prominent religious leaders.
I've just come into the house and my wife is in the garage. Somebody has done something to her and my children are in the floor.
Cops arrived at the house to find Peggy Railey, wife of Methodist minister Walker Railey, strangled. Railey told them he came home to find her close to death. The only witness, their 5-year-old son Ryan, too traumatized to give a reliable account. The attack left Peggy Railey in a vegetative coma, neither dead nor alive. Once a talented musician, she is unable to do anything for herself and unlikely ever to recover. Barbara Wedgwood is a family friend.
It is truly worse than death. A living death is what her condition is now.
Walker Railey was the beloved pastor of First United Methodist Church in downtown Dallas. Thousands listened to his sermons in church and on television.
Hypnotic. He was absolutely loved to the point that I think some people perhaps placed him as a Christ figure.
But even as members of his congregation prayed for Peggy, detectives were focusing on Railey himself as the prime suspect. Railey had made calls from a mobile phone to his answering machine the night of the attack. On one, he gives the time as 10:45 and warns his wife to lock up.
I'm calling you from my mobile phone. Peg, it's about, I don't know, I don't have a watch. It's somewhere between 10:30, 10:45, somewhere along in there. If you want to, go ahead and lock the garage door, and I'll park out front.
Dallas detectives quickly established that the call was made after midnight and shortly before Railey called 911. They believe it was part of an attempt by Railey to establish an alibi. Police also discovered Railey had been having an affair with this woman, Lucy Papillon, daughter of a Methodist bishop. Ralph Shannon led a church inquiry which suspended Railey.
She was with him many times, including the night of the strangling. There are reports she was overseas with him at one point.
But before detectives could question Railey further, he tried to kill himself with a drug overdose. In a suicide note, he wrote, "There's a demon inside my soul. I am the weakest of the weak, the baddest of the bad, the lowest of the low." After recovering in a psychiatric hospital, Railey refused to talk to police further. Summoned before a grand jury, he took the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination 43 times. There were no charges filed at that point, but the case remained open, and Peggy's condition didn't change.
I'm angry every time I see her. Because angry is probably the best word to describe it. I'd like some justice.
Peggy Railey's brother Ted and other family members brought a civil suit against the pastor for attacking his wife and won an $18 million judgment. By then, Railey had surrendered custody of his children to family friends and moved to California, where he lived in this cramped apartment proclaiming his innocence.
I work and live on the hope and prayer that the bond of love that binds me to my children's lives and their lives to mine is a bond that can never be destroyed and never be transcended by anything else.
But unanswered questions from Railey's past intruded on his new life. On November 20th, 1992, a grand jury handed down an indictment for attempted murder. Railey was arrested at the Los Angeles church where he'd been preaching and voluntarily returned to Texas for trial.
And I didn't just have a big ego. At times I stepped on my colleagues.
Railey's fate is now being decided in a San Antonio courtroom. Yesterday, he broke down on the witness stand as he described finding his wife.
I saw half of Peggy's body in front of her car sticking out from the front of the Chrysler. So I jumped out of the car and I ran to her. And her face was red, it was almost purple, it was swollen.
Prosecutors say telephone records prove Railey lied about the time and location of the mobile phone call. Railey says he lied to cover up the love affair, not the attempted murder.
I was lying to my wife and created an alibi to go see Lucy Papillon.
At one point during the testimony, Railey's own attorney asked him the crucial question.
Walker, did you strangle Peggy?
No, I didn't.
Do you know who did?
No, I don't.
Meanwhile, in a nursing home in Tyler, Texas, Peggy Railey still lies in a coma. Her family visits her every day, bringing news of the children, hoping for a response that never comes.
Well, the jury in the case may begin deliberating today. If convicted, Railey could get 20 years in prison. Plenty more to come as Inside Edition moves along. Big trouble in Florida on an island populated by monkeys. And later on, Woody Harrelson now playing in the big leagues.
Suppose I were to offer you $1 million for one night with your wife.
It's pretty exciting. It's just exciting to work with Bradford.
I'm Steve Wilson. If you have a story you'd like us to investigate, call our Whistleblower Hotline. The number, 1-900-BE-INSIDE. That's 1-900-BE-INSIDE. The call costs 95 cents a minute, and you can take up to 2 minutes to tell us a little bit about your story. If we decide to pursue it, we'll be sure to get your permission before we use your name.
Here are your car hop combos, guys.
Hey, you're car hop of the year?
Yeah, I am.
Car hop of the year. Cool. Hey, could you take our picture? Sure. Just move in a bit. Now that's good. The car hop combo. That's a delicious Sonic cheeseburger, an order of fries, and a medium Coke Classic. All for just $2.49.
So, you ever see Frankie Avalon around here?
Oh, once in a while.
When I get gas, I may look like this, but I feel like this, painfully bloated with gas.
Gas-X has the power to relieve gas faster than antacids.
So I feel like me again.
Painful gas needs the power of Gas-X.
Washington politicians in the Senate race talk about cutting spending, but State Treasurer Kay Bailey Hutchison is different. She's done it. A small businesswoman, she cut the Treasury's budget 8%, yet earned a record $1 billion for Texas.
I was the only elected official to fight a state income tax, and I'll fight federal taxes too. To cut the deficit, let's cut spending and politicians' perks.
Kay Bailey Hutchison, a new kind of senator. She'll fight for Texas first.
Add a piece of chicken, add a piece of fish. As long as you can add a piece to any meal you wish, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that.
Buy any Long John's meal and add a piece. Fish for 75 cents, chicken for 65, or shrimp for 35.
Fish, shrimp, and chicken, crispy and delish. Mix them up and match them, add any piece you wish. Yeah, we can do that. Long John's Silver. Go fish.
Go for fish, 3 delicious shrimp plus fries, all just $1.99.
That's one small step for man.
Thank a teacher. Thank a teacher. Thank a teacher. A message from the Association of Texas Professional Educators.
Down in the Florida Keys, there is an island populated by monkeys, thousands of monkeys. It is a situation unique in America, and a situation that is controversial, and some say frightening. Dan Noyes with our report.
In Florida, college kids are acting out the rites of spring, acting like party animals. Just miles away, on one small isolated key, some more authentic wildlife. You won't find it on tourist maps, but locals like Captain Mike Vaughn can take you to Monkey Island. From a distance, it looks like any other Florida key. Get a little closer and you begin to see them. Just a quick flash in the bushes at first. Then a furry foot. Finally, you're face to face with a 35-pound primate.
They're great. I mean, they're an interesting animal. They're real friendly with each other. They're inquisitive. They come out to see you, and you sit there and watch them.
This is Key Lois, playground for thousands of rhesus monkeys imported from the jungles of India. Life on the island is much as it was back home. There are no tigers to chase them here, but mothers lose their young to another predator. It's a company called Charles River.
Well, they're one of the cleanest colonies that are available for use for biomedical research purposes. That is what they are being bred for. And the cleaner the animals that can be used for research, the better the research and the less animals that have to be used.
Charles River, a subsidiary of eye care giant Bausch & Lomb, is the world's largest supplier of laboratory animals. Each year, they sell almost 1,000 Monkey Island natives. Going price, $1,500. Other companies use the primates for research, from behavioral experiments to tests of new vaccines. The work is so controversial that Paul Schilling, the man who runs the operation for Charles River, is worried about appearing on camera.
Why do you feel the need not to show your face? Oh, I'm not looking for publicity, and I just as soon not have anybody else know who's doing what.
Schilling fears an attack by animal rights extremists. They have bombed laboratories and freed subjects of experiments. Schilling, Charles River, and Bausch & Lomb may also be worried about the close scrutiny their British division received last year. An animal rights investigator got a job at a Charles River laboratory in southeastern England, and with a video camera, he documented abuses at the facility. After this footage aired on British television, the government reprimanded Charles River and ordered an overhaul of the facility.
The company wouldn't let us see workers moving or trapping monkeys in Florida, so we really don't know if the same abuses are happening here. We did see severe environmental damage to land supposedly protected by state and federal laws.
This photograph shows Key Lois in the 1970s, before Charles River brought the monkeys. This is now. A thick brown tide of algae rings the island, the result of rotting trees and monkey waste. Massive stands of century-old mangroves are dead.
I just can't imagine that a monkey can do that.
Well, what the monkeys have done is eaten all the shoots off until the trees die.
The monkeys have devoured acre upon acre of mangrove, the trees which protect the island from erosion. Their roots provide shelter for spawning fish, so this damage means bad business for fishing guides like Mike Vaughn.
It affects the juvenile fish, the cover for lobsters and crabs and things that get up under these mangroves. And the waters erode away at the island, and it's devastating. It's a terrible-looking place.
It looks like the island has been hit with Agent Orange.
Biologist Curtis Kruger has been tracking the island's decline for years. Charles River did buy Key Lois from the state, but Kruger's maps show monkeys are damaging the public land that surrounds the island, supposedly protected as marine sanctuary.
The dark blue areas highlight dead mangroves on public lands. In kind of a nutshell, what you have is a commercial operation that is benefiting by killing state-protected trees on public lands.
Well, lately people like mangroves. When this project was started 20 years ago, commercially, mangroves were being treated like weeds here.
Now, Schilling says, the company is trying to adapt to more environmentally conscious times. They are planting mangrove shoots and trying to keep monkeys away from the trees with fences. For the most part, that's not working. We found scores of monkeys in areas that are supposed to be off limits. They are very resourceful animals, so much so that people who live near Key Lois worry that the primates will make it to their backyards.
In a really bad hurricane, we might see monkeys spread all over the Keys, which would really be catastrophic.
Residents near Monkey Island may have to live with their wild neighbors for a long time. Florida is giving Charles River permission to stay on Key Lois for 20 more years. Curtis Kruger is taking the state and the company to court.
Well, it makes me sad that it's been allowed to happen. It's a very special resource that's been lost. It's a setting, a tropical setting that occurs nowhere else in the country.
I can say we're trying to do everything we can, but we're still trying to stay in business. The company has made a tremendous investment here, and we can't just walk away from it.
I didn't know that was going on, and joining us now is Dan Noyes. Why is the state of Florida letting that company stay on the island for 24 years?
Well, Bill, the state has studied the situation, and they've come to an agreement with Charles River that there are steps the company can take to get the monkeys to stop damaging the land. Now, but the bottom line is the state has decided that the tax money from Charles River far outweighs the damage to the islands.
Those monkeys are pretty smart. I don't know, boy. It's tough to keep them constrained. Thanks, Dan, for that report. And coming next as we continue, if you had a background like Woody Harrelson's, you might be in deep trouble, but Harrelson has made it to the top. Now, what will happen after Cheers goes away?
We're all sitting around this room, and my God, you know, the clock is ticking. We're actually going to be leaving each other.
On Thursday, these women tell Inside Edition about their painful discovery. They were all married to the same man at the same time.
Meet a college short order cook who made hard work pay. Richard Fisher. Paperboy to high school quarterback. Harvard with honors. Stanford MBA. Successful Dallas businessman. Acclaimed investor. Not a politician. Policy advisor to Ross Perot, candidate for the U.S. Senate. The only candidate who has never taken PAC money and never will. And he's paying for his own campaign.
The PACs and the lobbyists don't care about you and me. Let's put an end to government by the greedy, for the greedy.
Technology, it's revolutionized the world. Yet while technology pulls us forward, giant out-of-state newspaper corporations resist progress. First they opposed radio, then they opposed television, and now they're opposing fiber optic technology that means progress and jobs for Texas. These special interests are always afraid of the competition, but Texans have never been afraid of the future. Call 1-800-669-6903 to connect Texas to the future.
For specialized physical rehabilitation, one name stands alone, Rio Vista. Our specialists work together to maximize recovery from traumas like spinal cord and brain injuries. In addition to providing physical therapy, Rio Vista is also a hospital that offers a high level of comprehensive care. At Rio Vista, we'll meet your needs by building on your strength. Rio Vista, regional specialists in physical rehabilitation.
Republican candidates for the U.S. Senate talk about cutting government. But as a state legislator, Kay Bailey Hutchison voted to triple her own pay. Jack Fields is a millionaire, yet he bounced checks in Congress. And Congressman Joe Barton voted to raise his pay by $35,000. Senator Bob Kruger believes action speaks louder than words. That's why he cut his own salary by 20%. Bob Kruger believes those who talk about cutting government should start with themselves.
Got me. I bet your subway token this ain't light.
You're on.
You never know. You never know. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. This ain't light.
Yes, it is. There's a new light beer for people who wouldn't consider a light beer.
What is it?
Introducing Coors Extra Gold Light compared to Bud.
I'm colorblind and I can tell it's dark.
Looks and tastes like regular beer. You won't believe it's a light.
If I didn't know this was a light beer, I would have never thought this was a light beer.
Coors Extra Gold Light. It's the rich, smooth, darker light beer.
I agree with him.
We know him.